Yeah, good day, everybody. Yeah, hope you're having a nice weekend. So, as you all know, the election has come and gone, but the situation remains very tense. So, as of today, in order to take your mind off the happiness about the elections a little bit, because we're still coming back to the same thing, then let's go back to some issues that also played out before and during the election, which was the Naira new Naira policy. So today, the Supreme Court has ruled in favor of majority of Nigerians, I would say, you know, that is against the federal government. He said the Supreme Court nullifies federal government's Naira redesign policy. So here are the key players in the whole problems. He said the Buhari-led government cashless and Naira redesign policy has been nullified by the Supreme Court. So anyway, this is what the Supreme Court said because um, Buhari government and regime or administration, as some people like to call it, I call it regime because it's acting authoritatively like an authoritarian, ruler, autocratic ruler, authoritarian, whatever. So the speaker can say one thing and he will do something else, or he maybe send some boys down there and they threaten the speaker, judge or judges. Then before you know it again, then they will reconsider their position again. It's only in Nigeria that thing is always playing out. Usually, back in the days, when Supreme Court ruled on issues, then that would be the final of everything. But this time around, ever since Buhari came on board, it has never been so. So even when the court rules on things, so it's not always the same thing. So a lot of people has been in jail, even while the court has ruled on their cases, to be let free or to be set free, that they were found non-wanting. So examples are enormous. You know, you can say the Shiite leader was one of the a very good example. Nnamdi Kanu also is another example. So many others like that, who are not very popular, as the case may be. So the Buhari government and this cashless policy that is trying to bring in you know, into the into the Nigerian polity, you know, has been rejected and nullified by the Supreme Court, which is supposed to be the final nail on the coffin of that issue. So let's hope that this time around that he will obey the court. So it's a report that the Apex Court on Friday declared the Naira redesign policy was an affront to the 1999 constitution of the country. If you imagine that, that is the constitution of the land, which means Buhari has committed treason already. So under normal circumstances, somebody like that is supposed to be ejected right from that seat of power where he is. That in normal climate. But Nigeria is not normal, like as far as politics is concerned. So it said Justice Emmanuel Akomaye Ajim, who read the lead judgment of the court, said Buhari breached the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. In the ways and manners, he issued directives for the redesigning of the Naira by the CBN. So that is the main thing. I don't want to be reading page by page in order for me to have time to do some other stuff and analyze. So what this whole thing means is that Buhari, mess up. That normally it's not supposed to do things like that. Under normal circumstances, people don't act the way this man has been acting and the way they do things. They do things like, they don't really, like people who don't really care about how the people feel and things like that. Because under normal circumstances, a government should care about how its people feel, or the majority of its people feel about certain policies that they are about to take. But under Buhari, it's not like that. It's about how he feels or how he analyzed the whole process to himself convincingly, before bringing it out. So I don't even know if he even discussed it with anybody. or whether he just go to bed and come up, the next morning and just say, oh, this is what I have to do. I have to do it. They have to put my face on the new Naira note, or put my dog on the other one, and my cat on the other one, and what have you. I will never know, because sometimes it baffles me. So I wish Nigeria have a system that is parliamentary at least, where somebody like a president will just be there, like, on the ceremonial, kind of, without having all those absolute power to do things or run things down. So the countries that are making progress so far that we know, we can take a cue from, you know, they are bound. It's things like companies like I mean countries like Japan, even the UK, they all have a parliamentary system, and so many other little countries like that. So, but Nigeria chose to have this kind of expensive, you know, system of government. At the end of the day, they will tell you that it's federal, and yet it's not federal. So Nigeria's system seems to be a kind of a unitary system of government, where the president or the so-called, you know, head of government have absolute power, to dictate to everybody, to CBN, to INEC, to whichever institution that is. So that has been the case. That has been going on ever since. So let's take that for that. I hope that you concur. So the second one would be, let's say, back to the election fever, or after election fever, post-election fever. So I would say, you say so a shifting of APC has justified why the INEC did not transmit election results electronically, you know, in the last election, which was held on 25th of February, as you all know. So the man's name is called Ekene Enefe. So he claimed that some political parties brought in hackers from Russia and Israel to manipulate the outcome of the 2023 general elections. You see, there will continue to be all kinds of theory as to why INEC did not do things according to the law, because there are laws that bind INEC, to operate in a certain way as far as election is concerned. So if actually that this man was saying the truth, that the servers or the IREC was hijacked or what have you, or hacked into, or the servers were hacked into, so then there should have been some other ways, to handle this whole situation, because now you cannot say because you thought that your system was hacked, therefore you have to do things, out of context. So which means you're not doing the whole thing. You didn't carry out the whole process, according to what the rules, what the rules are, which means other people were acting based on some other exceptional rules, why others were acting according to the rules, that is written. Do you get the point? So I don't think it will work like that. Under normal circumstances, things like this, when there's a conflict of interest in this kind of issues, the next thing to do is to either postpone the election or you cancel the whole process that has taken place so far. So that was what INEC was asked to do, you know. So I don't know whether this confusion still exists, because after all, Kenya, some few years ago, I think 2017 or so, after conducting an election, and they saw that the whole process was fraudulent, they have to cancel the whole process. Then they have to conduct the election again. So heaven did not fall. So we still have Team May to sworn in the new president. So I think election can still be done. After all the campaign has taken place already. So if you really want a free and fair election, and you really want people to have, their choice, and you want them to be convinced that this is the man that really won the election convincingly, in order for everyone to work, with that government to succeed, then the whole thing has to be fair and square. So it's as simple as that. So so far they are still beating around the bush. So that is it. So and this other headline just say related news. I did not resign from PDP. I always step aside. So that is Ayo Fayoshi talking. That was step aside. You know who that was popular with. You know that is international busybody was one that owned that word then. He said court OKs will be an article request to inspect electoral materials. So that is it. And he said Tinubu, what have you? He said Wike thanks Nigerians. He says rotational presidency settled. So what Wike is trying to say there is that he's happy that Satada, you know, won and not Atiku. So, but that one's is subject for another discussion because if Wike has allowed the votes or the people to, to be counted or to count as it was, as it was cast in River State, then I think we know who the winner of that state was because we saw the whole result when they were coming in from the local governments, from the right sources. So all of a sudden, when it gets to one certain point, it twisted the whole thing. So if you still remember when that electoral officer in River State said that his life was threatened, so then all of a sudden he came back again and he announced this thing in the evening when he get to Ubiakpo local government. That's the local government of Wiki himself. So that was the last, and that is the largest local government also. So that was the last local government with all the electoral results, everything was this year to scam out the Labour Party, you know, presidential candidate. So we all know. So Akwa Ibom, we also know what happened there, that LP won there, and everything was twisted. Even Cross River State, the same thing. It twisted it, then gave that one to PDP. So in fact, a whole lot of bullshit happened in Edo State. I would say that PDP failed woefully, and LP Obi won like even 90% of the Edo State vote. So what they did was to start to cause confusion and commotion everywhere in some local governments. Then scattered all the materials and stuff like that, so that they can nullify those areas. So and at the end of the day, so but he still won. Obi still won those, won in Edo State massively. But he would have won much better, much higher with a higher, you know, digit, than he actually did, this time around. So the same thing applies to Delta State, to be won massively, but the whole thing was also twisted again so that they be able to give that 25%, to some of their, bootlicking, you know, slave masters. So that was what they did, So they were taking Obi's votes just to, you know, dividing it among, sharing it among themselves, for them to get some tokens from those areas, So because this time around, I think the Satan has proven something, and especially the youth, you know, they have proven something that really, if they actually mean something, if they actually mean business and they want something done, that they can actually do it well, So I'm very proud of our youth because I've always said it, that the Nigerian youth are the only thing left, because the politicians has been on our truth right from day one. All it does, it brings us sorrow and pain, destroy our our commonwealth, our economy, etc., etc. It's only the youth, that travel out and bring things back home to develop Nigeria. It's only the youth, that go out with their talent, and showcase Nigeria in good light. It's only the youth that go into the entertainment industries, perform massively, and because of that, Nigerians are respected, abroad. No politicians has ever done what the youths have done for Nigeria in the past 20, 30 years. There's none. You cannot name one single politician. You say this is the politician that actually has brought dignity and pride to Nigeria. You know. So talk about the youths. Chimamanda, for example. Then if you go to the film industries, there are a lot there. You all know them. You know. So and then you go to music and entertainment, the same thing. You know. So they are all youths. You understand? So I don't see one single politician that can go to the UN today and give a speech and for them to actually respect him because he's quite intelligent or because he has contributed, to humanity, you know, in any way, no form. It doesn't exist. No Nigerian politicians that has attained that status. But you see, writers, artists, you know, and things and people like that. Those are the people. But we seem sometimes not to even value these people for what they are because they don't seem to carry the megaphone and stand on top of the roof and be canvassing, canvassing for one thing or another. Why they are also doing so many things like working with the NGOs and things like that. Even some of them have their own foundations that are taking care of so many things in Nigeria. So people needs and things like that. You know. So let's give it up for the youth this time and give them a big hand and great support and encouragement. Thank you to the youth. Thank you all. But to the politicians, I can say if we can get one good one among them or some few ones among them that we still believe in, why not? So let's push them and elevate them and make sure we tell them what we want and they do what we want and bring that development closer to the people. So thank you very much. So that's a wrap for today. And let me just say, I will bring you more details on so many other things soon. So like our videos,